All the big guys sit on this stupid back-to-back in New York. Payton Pritchard, of course, did his thing. But Dalano Banton, I think, made the biggest impact in this game. Let's talk about it right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team, step back. We gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course, the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Karalis above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap, salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast. Right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, it's your team every day. I'm here for you every day with a free, fresh podcast dropped directly to your device if you subscribe. If you haven't done so, do it right now. Hit that subscribe button. If you are with me every day, thank you so much. I love you for it. Monday through Friday, it's free podcasts come out 5 days a week. Bonus podcasts on game nights on Fridays and Saturdays. So make sure you're with me. I'm John Karalis. Former pro, now I cover the Celtics as a beat writer for Boston Sports Journal. And today, talking about the Boston Celtics loss. Do we care that they lost to the New York Knicks? I don't care that they lost to the New York Knicks. They played well, I think. Again, still not hitting from three. They shot 25% from three. They took 48 of them. I had no real issue with the three-pointers that they took. I really had no issue with this game at all, other than the top six guys didn't play because of a really – I mean, I guess it was unavoidable because I don't think the NBA would just sit there and say, yeah, let's have them play 3 games in 4 nights. That makes sense. So all the top 6 guys sat. Tatum, Brown, Derek White, Drew Holiday, Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis. They all sat out this game. Hey, today's show is brought to you by Jase Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jase case, providing you with a personal supply of 5 antibiotics that treat 50-plus infections. Get yours today at jasemedical.com. That's Jase medical.com. We'll get into some of the other performances in the second segment later on. We'll continue the conversation about Payton Pritchard, who just continues to roll through 2 games of this the playoffs. The absence of a lot of these guys, you might have sat there and said, well, hey, I don't need to pay attention to this game, but don't tell that to the guys on the bench because this is their opportunity. This is their chance. We're looking at question marks all across the board, and they started Brissett, Hauser, Cornette, Banton, and Payton Pritchard. Banton played the most minutes, a little over 30. And these are the days. These are the opportunities for these guys to go and earn a spot. We know the top 6. Top 6 is set. And I thought maybe you can get, because, yeah, it's a back-to-back, but what's 15, 20 minutes, right? What's 2 8-minute stretches in the first and second quarter for a couple of your main guys? Like, I knew they weren't going to play Al Horford. I knew they weren't going to play Porzingis. That wouldn't have made any sense. Horford, obviously, because of his age. Porzingis, you do not want to tempt fate when it comes to his foot in the plantar fasciitis. But I thought, hey, Drew Holiday needs reps. Tatum and Brown are still young. And, hey, 25 minutes in yesterday's game. You come back, you play 20 minutes in this game. Really wouldn't have – I don't think that would have been a big issue. And I thought, you play Holiday, you play him with Tatum and Brown together. Let's get those guys a few reps against a New York Knicks team that was playing their actual starting lineup. They started R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, and Emmanuel Quickley off the bench. So they had basically their regular rotation. I thought maybe a few minutes of real competition against especially a division rival that's going to be playing hard might have worked, but the Celtics, no chances. The goal is much bigger than a few of these reps. Holiday's going to get his reps somehow. These guys got their pregame work in. They got up a little bit of a sweat. then they get to put on their street clothes and sit on the bench and cheer on the rest of these guys. So it didn't go the way I thought it might, but I think it's a fair call to sit all of those guys. So you give Pritchard and Banton, Brissett, Hauser the opportunity. I think 3 players stood out to me, and I'm going to start with Dalano Banton because he played. Not only did he play a little bit more than 30 minutes, I thought he played really, really well. He didn't shoot well from 3, 1 of 5, but he was 7 of 14 from 2, and most of those were layups. And layups against, again, the Knicks regulars. He did a lot of damage against, Julius Randle was on the floor. Mitchell Robinson was on the floor. Tough defenders, tough guys, big guys, strong guys, shot blockers, guys that'll be chippy with you. And it should be noteworthy that Banton was able to get himself to the rim and get some good finishes and get himself to the line a few times and have a decent game for himself. And the interesting part of Banton is we've known him as a point guard. He's 6'7", 6'8". So he handles the ball. He's got size, but he can play off the ball. And I think his evolution as an off-ball player, he's trying to kind of fill all spots. Do you need a point guard to come in? Is Payton Pritchard too small? Hey, here I am, Dalano Banton, big tall guy with a little bit of a handle, and I can see the floor and run the point. He can do that. Do you need a wing? You're thin at the wing. Well, I can play off the ball too. Sure, I'll come in and do that stuff. You want me to do some of the dirty work? No problem. He does have to shoot better. Shooting has been an issue for Banton. It's getting better, but it's not where it needs to be. And a shooting night like this, 1 of 5, no one shot the ball well, really, other than Svi Mykhailiuk, who I'll talk about in a little bit. But I thought Banton showed enough of, hey, I can take advantage of space. You want to put me out there with Tatum and Brown, and I can show you that I can get to the rim. I can finish. I can get you the free throws. I can be a guy that if you want to put me out there with Tatum and Brown and those guys get double teamed, I can get to the rim. I can finish. I can make it so when those guys get double teamed, I can punish those double teams. That's an important element to have. So is this one game going to earn Dalano Banton his role as a 7th or 8th guy? No, that this one game won't do it, but it definitely pushes him deeper into the conversation. So what's his job going to be if he gets this role? Somehow you have to make Tatum and Brown better. Well, how do you make Tatum and Brown better? By being dangerous. You make those guys better by being dangerous enough, getting to the rim, drawing the fouls, hitting the open shots. That's a huge thing for him. If you can do that stuff and the opposing defense is like, well, we can't double off of Banton because he's going to kill you. He's going to backdoor cut you, right? Or if you put your worst defender on him or a lesser defender on him, he can break you down a little bit and get into the paint. And because of his point guard background, if he gets into the paint and then he draws attention because paint touches always draw attention, then that creates opportunities for the other great players. So nice game from Banton. Nice to see that he can do a bit on the ball, off the ball. The overall game, he still needs to hit the shots, but nice to see him take advantage of this opportunity. Payton Pritchard is always taking advantage of the opportunity. We'll talk about Pritchard. We'll talk about some of these other guys, things that I've seen good and bad from the other role players as we figure out who's going to be on this bench. How is this going to go for the Celtics supporting cast? I'll do that in just a second. First, today's show is brought to you by Jase Medical. Jase Medical is going to give you peace of mind, because there are tons of situations where you find yourself in need of some sort of medical attention, and you don't always have access to a doctor. You don't always have access to an emergency facility. Maybe you're out camping. Maybe it's a weather situation, lots of storms, lots of extreme weather, and you're stuck, you're trapped, something like that. You find yourself in a situation where you need antibiotics. The Jase case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use. You go to jasemedical.com, you fill out a simple form. Maybe you jump on a quick call with one of their board certified positions. And then next thing you know, you get yourself a set of life-saving antibiotics that you can use in an emergency situation. You get a cut, you get something, you get no access to a medical facility. This can help you get through a situation. You find yourself with some sort of maybe a sinus infection. Maybe you find yourself with some sort of ear infection. You've gone camping, you've gone swimming, and now something is going on. You need something for the next day or two to get you through. Jase Medical and the Jase case is going to help you out. Go to jasemedical.com, JASE medical.com. Get $20 off these life-saving antibiotics today by using the code LOCKEDON at checkout. So jasemedical.com, Locked On is the promo code. You get $20 off, jasemedical.com. You want peace of mind in an emergency situation, they're going to give it to you. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Head on over to Locked On NBA. I'm there on Wednesdays with Jake Madison, host of the Locked On Pelicans podcast. We have a lot of fun covering the league. Now there are games. I'm a little bit jealous because I don't get to cover the Victor Wembanyama, Chet Holmgren matchup. That's going to be a fun one over there on Locked On NBA. But check out Locked On NBA 5 days a week, rotating hosts. I'm on the Wednesday show. Subscribe there wherever you found this podcast. Again, this podcast, daily, free, on YouTube. So subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Let's talk about Payton Pritchard. How about Payton Pritchard just casually dropping another 21-point game, 21 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds. Shot okay, 4 of 11, 7 of 15 overall, 3 of 3 from the line. He did have 3 turnovers, but he also had 3 steals. So a nice game from Pritchard, who I thought struggled at the beginning with the Jalen Brunson matchup. Jalen Brunson is I'm going to say an all-star level player, because I think a lot of people expected him to make the all-star game, and he was a snub. But I think Brunson obviously Brunson is really good. So with that matchup, I think Pritchard struggled, and having to defend Brunson, that puts you in a position where your offense is going to struggle. So I think that showed a little bit of the limitations for Pritchard. 3 points in the first quarter. It was a -9. Not that I'm going to take a plus minus, it was the reserves playing against the Knicks, and the Knicks in the Celtics in the second quarter kind of made up a lot of the ground there. And so I feel like Pritchard played well, but also we saw, hey, against even, and look, Brunson is not a big guy at all, but an elite player, like, everybody's going to struggle with Brunson. Pritchard is going to struggle sometimes in those matchups. I think we saw, okay, this is not a situation. If the Celtics suffered a couple of injuries and Pritchard was forced into the starting lineup, like, you saw some of the limitations of, like, okay, yeah, I can understand. Maybe you can understand what I'm talking about when it comes to playoff basketball versus regular season basketball. But once that matchup wasn't there, Pritchard was able to take care of the matchup he's normally going to get, right? The second unit matchup, third unit matchup. He's going to get those matchups in a normal situation with Tatum and Brown and all those other guys on the floor. So that just goes to show that when Pritchard is in the spot that he's supposed to be in, he can really, really thrive. You saw the energy, the pushing the pace. You're going to see games in January where guys on the Celtics are going to be like, there's going to be like 80% of the energy, 70% of the energy. And Pritchard, just because he's a maniac, is going to be out there pushing the pace. And I think one of the mistakes that Mazzulla made last year was not going to the energy change of pace guy in situations like that often enough. Instead, trying to let these guys figure things out on their own, leaning on the philosophy of, hey, if this happens in the playoffs, they're going to have to figure it out on their own. But sometimes you have to throw in an energy guy. And I do consider Pritchard an energy guy because he always plays at that same pace. He's always pushing the tempo. He's getting the ball in. He's getting the ball up the floor. He is making sure that the Celtics are playing at that right tempo. And when the rest of the guys on the floor, if they're not in that same speed, it's obvious. It forces those guys to play at that speed. So I think Pritchard showed exactly in this game, exactly just like in the last game, what the Celtics need. There's no doubt. However the Celtics play the starting lineup, Pritchard's going to be in that top 7 or 8. So he has obviously earned his spot, and he should be getting regular minutes. And that's Payton Pritchard. So then you move on to some of these other guys like Svi Mykhailiuk, who, I don't know, man. I've not watched a ton of Svi Mykhailiuk. You know, you watch enough to say, yeah, he's a shooter and all this other stuff. But I didn't know he was getting up for two-handed putback dunks. I didn't know he was going up and catching alley-oops. But he was out there doing his thing. 15 points, 3 rebounds, that one huge monster offensive rebound on the putback dunk. Played 25 minutes, and I think he was a nice surprise out there with some of the ways he was able to score, getting to the rim, shooting his shot. I thought it was all very important for him. So he made a case. A lot of guys made their case. I don't know what they're going to, what they're thinking as far as, okay, top 6 are going to play this much. We need 2 more guys and that's it, or 3 more guys or 4 more guys. Well, I don't know what they're hoping for their rotation to be, but Mykhailiuk makes a case. Hey, when you see me open, I can hit these shots. I can hit these threes. I can get to the rim when I need to get to the rim. If you forget about me, I can climb the ladder and finish. So I think the 3 stars of this game were Banton, Pritchard, and Mykhailiuk. Those are the guys that were your 3 top scorers, obviously. Pritchard with 21, Banton with 20, and Mykhailiuk with 15. And he was the only one that was really hitting from 3 at a good clip, 3 of 7, 43%. So guys kind of showing out a little bit. But there were other guys too. O'Shea Brissett, Lamar Stevens are two big names. The big guys, Nemayesh Keita. We saw Jordan Walsh. I'll talk about those guys in just. First, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com/LockedOn for an amazing deal. We're in the middle of football season. Lots of action out there on the football field. Bet against the Patriots, I guess. Head on over to FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. If you're a new customer, all you got to do is bet $5. $5 on whatever. $5 against the Patriots. I don't even know who they're playing next, but bet on that team. I don't know. If whatever you do, win or lose, you're going to get $200 in bonus bets. That's guaranteed. Place a $5 bet on anything. You get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. All you new customers, win or lose, that's the deal on FanDuel. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, this is the time. The app is super easy to use. You got your standard stuff, your spreads, player props, over-unders. You've got your futures. You can bet on the Celtics win total. How are you feeling after 2 games? Do you expect them to win 55, 60 games? Well, hop on FanDuel. Bet the over. Plenty of options. So go to FanDuel.com/LockedOn, kick off the NFL season, get ready for NBA season. FanDuel is an official partner of the NFL. Just ask you, if you're going to gamble, have fun, please gamble responsibly. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Check out the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Josh Lloyd has got you ready for your fantasy league. You want to win your league, you got to listen to Josh. He's going to have you covered. All the little tips, all the little tricks, all the guys at the end of benches, guys getting opportunities that maybe the rest of your league doesn't know. So check out Josh right where you found this podcast. Other guys here that stepped up in this game, just running through. Let's just run through the rest of the box score here to wrap this up. So I talked about the three main guys, Lamar Stevens and O'Shea Brissett, kind of lumping them together because they had very similar games. A little bit, the defense was okay. I thought the defense overall was okay, right? They thought they played generally pretty well. It's just that they were playing against the Knicks starters and they gave up a bunch of rebounds. Luke Cornett, let me just skip ahead to him. I thought Luke did, fine. He sets picks and he had a couple of nice plays, couple of nice dunks, all of that. But man, he needs to rebound better. He had 2 rebounds in this game? That's just not enough. If Luke Cornett wants to be part of this rotation, part of it is going to have to be getting into rebounding position. I know he's not the biggest guy in the world. He's not going to out bench press a lot of these other big guys around the team, but you can still get low, box out, and grab some rebounds. And I think that's Cornett's biggest weakness. Lamar Stevens and O'Shea Brissett did a pretty decent job. Nick Nurse was really kind of gushing about O'Shea Brissett's rebounding ability. He had 5. Lamar Stevens had 8. The Celtics do need rebounding, and if those guys can come in and grab some, that's going to be a big help. But the shooting is going to be the biggest thing. The Celtics have not shot well in their first 2 preseason games. Brissett 0 of 4, Stevens 1 of 5. Those guys, you're going to have to shoot better than that to make your case. And I talked about Banton. He was 1 of 5 from 3. The Celtics, like I said, shot 25%. They were 12 of 48. Not going to cut it. Not going to cut it. The 48 is about right where Joe Mazzulla kind of wants it to be. I thought the threes were generally really good. I didn't have a problem with the shot selection necessarily. I thought the guys shot the shots that they were supposed to shoot. It's just that you got to make those things, and Brissett and Stevens especially have to do that, and especially Sam Hauser, who, what was he against Philly? 0 for 5, 0 for 6, 2 of 9 in this game. Get your misses out of the way. Get your misses out of the way now in October, Sam Hauser. Get whatever bad, maybe he's allergic to pumpkin spice. I have no idea why he's coming out on such a bad shooting stretch to start the preseason, but I would much rather have him have this struggle now than later. But I will say Hauser has done a pretty good job doing other things. He had 8 rebounds in this game. When is Sam Hauser tied for the team lead with Lamar Stevens? 8 rebounds, 2 offensive rebounds. He had an assist. He had a steal, just a couple of turnovers in a game where, look, the Celtics lost by 7. And again, I don't want to get into too much into plus minus, but he played 25 minutes and was a -1, where other guys in the starting lineup were minus double digits. So that tells you something. He did have a positive impact. And to be fair, you hit one more 3, you get to 33%. And you're like, that's almost where he needs to be. So, but obviously he's a 3-point shooter. He needs to be hitting those 3-point shots. I think his defense so far over 2 games has been generally not bad. Not bad. It's where it needs to be for him to stay on the floor. So tough shooting night, but overall, I'm okay with Sam Hauser the way he's been playing generally, but those shots got to fall. Jordan Walsh got some minutes. A little bit of a baby deer quality to his game. Playing a little too fast, but you saw the defensive chops. I think in this game, you were able to see what the Celtics see in him as a project. I don't think, and I've been consistent with this from the beginning, I don't think he's ready to play right now. I think this game should be a little bit of that evidence in my favor when I say that. But also, I see where it's going. I see why there's a positive feeling about this kid. He's still figuring things out. And when you're a defense-first guy at this age, still 19 years old, you can't expect him to come in and just be great right away. There are tips and tricks that he's got to pick up and learn and all of that stuff. And that's going to take some time. But his rip of Julius Randle and finish on the other end, again, a little bit of baby deer quality. There was, the drive was, okay, not entirely comfortable, but he finished. He had a couple of nice finishes. He had a couple of nice defensive possessions. I think Walsh is going to take a little bit of time, but next year or the year after, you have the real potential for him to be a solid contributor, a good contributor on a good team. And that's what you want from a second-round pick. You got to give him a little time and let him kind of fill out. You got to let him learn the defense, how to play defense, how not to foul out and all that stuff. But I can definitely see where they're going with this. A couple other guys, we saw J.D. Davison. He had some okay moments, but he's not going to be a factor. DJ Stewart, I've forgotten all about him. When Gabriel played, I compared him to listening to a podcast at 1.5 speed, but everyone else is on normal speed. So he looked rushed. He looked like he was moving too fast. I hope he can calm down, dial it in a little bit, and play with a little bit more just control. I don't know if he's going to stick or not, but he was playing easily a little. Well, we'll just say he's playing too fast. And then the Mayash Keita, he's on the two-way contract. Look, he's a big beefy dude, and the Celtics need big beefy dudes to go out there and box out and set picks. And it's not a bad thing to have a guy like that around. Now, he had 5 fouls in this game. But he had a couple of nice finishes, and you need somebody to go out there and grab some rebounds. And what do you have in this game? 4 rebounds in 13 minutes. Not bad, right? 5 personal fouls, but he was 3 of 5. And I think, look, he's a two-way player, so I'm not going to get excited about a two-way player, right? But he's clearly the biggest, the big strong guy of the front court, at least of the reserves. He's a guy that if he was setting a pick on me and no one called it out, I'd be pissed, because I feel like that would hurt if he set that pick on me. So as a two-way guy, hey, we've seen two-way guys stick before. And the Celtics need his kind of archetype on the team. So I'm saying don't expect it. I'm like 85 to 90% don't expect it. But there's 10% of me that's saying, I don't know. Maybe in the right scenario, he can help here or there. So we'll see. But overall, you lost to the Knicks by 7, where they were playing their main guys at least a little bit. 13 minutes for Randall, 15 and a half for Barrett. Brunson, played in the first quarter. They didn't play a ton, but you got a good taste of some of these rotation guys against some good players, and I think they held their own. So for a situation where it's stupid, it's a back-to-back, it's 3 games in 4 nights, I think the Celtics made the most of it. And I'm intrigued by Banton, and I kind of want to see where this goes on Wednesday night in Philly and how it goes as camp progresses in their last 2 preseason games next week. I will be covering everything. I will be here tomorrow night with a new podcast, Monday through Friday. When they play on Fridays or Saturdays, I will give you bonus content. I will give you a bonus podcast to make sure that you are completely covered. Everything Celtics all the time. It's always going to be free. I'm not going to ask you to pay me any money. I am going to ask you to visit the advertisers like Jase Medical and FanDuel. That's how I get paid. But you don't have to pay me any money. I am going to ask you to subscribe. I am going to ask you to watch the show on YouTube. And if you're a regular listener, if you are one of my everydayers, my Monday through Friday folks, love you. Thank you so much for making me part of your daily routine. Would love it now if you shared the podcast. Spread the word. Tell your friends. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.